Daniel Alvarez paused in the dim hallway, the soft echo of early morning footsteps bouncing somewhere beyond the corner. The school was always silent at this hour, just the hum of old lights, the faint rattle of pipes settling, the whisper of a building waking up. But today, something different cut through the stillness. A small, unhappy noise. A tiny cry. He tightened his grip on his mop handle, instincts pricking. It wasn't the sound of a student. It wasn't even the sound of someone in distress. It was softer, more fragile. A baby. Daniel set the mop against the wall and stepped closer, boots silent on the floor he'd polished 1,000 times. As he turned the corner, light from the lobby window spilled across the corridor, and there she was again, the young soldier. Always in the same spot at the same time. Always sitting on the bench just inside the entrance, uniform wrinkled from sleep, hair falling from a loose bun, eyes heavy with exhaustion. And beside her, nestled in her arms, the small bundle wrapped in a fading pastel blanket, her baby. She was barely more than a girl herself. Early 20s, maybe 23. Her shoulders were stiff, and her posture screamed responsibility too heavy for someone so young to carry alone. She bounced the baby gently, whispering apologies through a tired voice that cracked on every other word. Daniel had seen her for the last 5 mornings. Always silent, always struggling, always pretending she had everything under control even though the tremble in her hands said otherwise, but today, the tremble was worse. He approached slowly, not wanting to startle her. "Rough morning?" She looked up, startled at first, then relieved when she recognized him. "Sorry, I didn't mean for him to cry. I'm trying to keep him calm." "You don't need to apologize," Daniel said, voice softening. "Babies cry. That's what they do." The baby stirred again, face scrunching in discomfort, and the girl's face fell with guilt so heavy it hurt to watch. Daniel felt something inside him tighten. He remembered those early years with Lily, his daughter, when she was just a tiny thing in his arms, fragile as a sigh. The sleepless nights that blurred into each other. The fear of doing everything wrong. The crushing loneliness after his wife died, leaving him with a newborn in a world he no longer understood, but he also remembered how a child could give someone a reason to keep breathing. How one tiny life could anchor a man to this world, even when grief threatened to drag him under. "You look like you haven't slept," he said. She gave a tired, embarrassed laugh. "I haven't. Not really. He's teething. And I think he's getting a fever. I tried to get here early to feed him before my shift starts, but," her voice hitched. She looked away. Daniel crouched down so he was eye level with the baby. "May I?" She hesitated. He could see the battle behind her eyes, trust, fear, pride, shame. But then she nodded and slowly passed the baby to him. Daniel's hands moved with a familiarity that never left him. The baby sagged into his arms, tiny fists unclenching, cry softening. Daniel gently rocked him, humming something he didn't even realize he remembered. A lullaby his wife used to sing. The girl watched with wide, disbelieving eyes. "How did you do that?" "Years of practice," he said quietly. "My daughter used to be the loudest baby in the entire hospital." Nurses avoided walking past our room. For the first time since he'd known her, the girl smiled. Not a small polite one. A real smile, worn, tired, but warm. "I didn't know you had a daughter," she said. "She's 8 now. Thinks she's a superhero." He glanced down at the baby, whose eyelids were finally softening, breath settling. Carefully, he adjusted the blanket. "Kids, they're harder than any job in the world." She swallowed. "I'm finding that out." Daniel returned the baby to her arms when he was sure he was calm. She clutched him tightly, gratefulness swimming in her eyes. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Riley," she said. "Riley Matthews. And this little guy?" She smiled down at the baby. "Evan." Daniel nodded. "Nice to meet you both properly." Riley shifted nervously. "I know I shouldn't be here this early. Technically, I'm not supposed to bring him on base, even this close. But daycare opens too late. And I don't." She stopped herself, fingers tightening around her son. "I don't have anyone else. Not anymore." Her voice cracked at the end. Daniel felt that crack like a punch to the ribs. He knew the sound of someone who'd been carrying too much for too long. "You're doing your best," he said. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. She blinked rapidly, fighting tears. My best doesn't feel like enough. It never does. But it is. Riley brushed the baby's cheek gently. I didn't plan any of this. I enlisted 2 years ago. Thought I'd make something of myself. Thought I'd honor my family. Then life just changed. Her throat tightened. People see me and think I'm irresponsible. Or stupid. Or a burden. Daniel shook his head. People see what they want. But that doesn't matter. You're here. You're fighting every day, not for yourself but for him. That takes more courage than most people ever find in their entire lives. Riley looked at him with a quiet, aching gratitude that made Daniel's chest grow tight. She looked like someone who had gone months, maybe years, without hearing a kind word directed at her. You sound like someone who's had hard days too, she whispered. Daniel exhaled slowly. Hard years. Silence filled the space between them, soft, understanding, almost comforting. Outside, the sun began to push through the clouds, sending long beams of pale morning light across the lobby floor. The baby shifted in Riley's arms but stayed calm. For a moment, everything felt steady. Everything felt possible. You should get to your shift, Daniel said gently. I know. Riley adjusted the strap of her worn backpack. Thank you. For helping. For not judging me. Daniel gave a small smile. I don't judge people. Life is hard enough. She nodded. I'll see you tomorrow? He chuckled. Yeah. I'll be here. Same time. Riley hesitated, then stepped closer. Can I ask you something? Sure. Why do you help me? You don't even know me. Daniel looked at her, really looked. At the tired eyes, the raw vulnerability, the way she clutched her son like he was the only thing holding her to the earth. Because I know what it's like, he thought. To be alone. To be afraid. To feel like the world is too heavy, but what he said was simple, because someone helped me once. And it saved my life. Riley's breath caught. She nodded, understanding far deeper than words allowed. Then she walked out the door, baby held close, shoulders straighter than before. Daniel watched her disappear into the morning haze. He didn't know her story. He didn't know what she was hiding, what she carried, or what storm she was walking into. But something deep inside whispered that this wasn't the last day things would change. He picked up his mop again, but the weight of it felt different now. Some mornings changed nothing, but some mornings changed everything, and Daniel had a feeling today was the start of something big, something messy, something painful, something that would test him in ways he hadn't been tested in years. But also something that might heal parts of him he thought were gone forever. He didn't know that Riley wasn't just another struggling young mother. He didn't know she wasn't just another soldier barely holding it together. He had no idea who she truly was. The admiral's daughter, and soon, her life and his were going to collide in a way that shook everything. But for now, all he knew was that a young mother needed help, and a janitor with a quiet, broken heart had finally found someone he couldn't walk away from. If you want, I can continue part 2, 1600 to 1800 words, or create chapter-wise photo prompts.